Hello FlossTube, this is Kate from Kate's Crafting Corner. It is December 29th, 2019, and I am here to do my WIPGO 2020 boards preview. I had intended for this to be filmed much quicker. It took me about 3 hours to set it up because it turns out some of my WIPs on both of my boards I thought were at the house, but it turns out they're probably in storage. So my craft room is a lot cleaner than it used to be because I pulled everything out to try to find them, but you know, that's probably good. So I am gonna go through both of my WIPGO boards. I have all 48 WIPs here next to me, and we are going to see what I am going to try to do. For each of the boards, if I wasn't able, and on both of them it's only 3, or it's 3 on both, which is kind of ironic. But if I wasn't able to find the WIP I was looking for, I put an alternative WIP there that seemed to kind of relate. So I mean, on the first WIPGO board I go through, it's the second one, so I'll tell you how they're related. But the goal is to work on the one that was originally there, so if it gets called before I find it, I'll work on the alternative one, but if not, then I am going to work on the primary one. So it's not like a, you know, what my mood strikes type of situation. It's more like I have it or I don't have it. So to begin with, I'm gonna show you guys the cross stitch one, and then I will move to the not cross stitch one. My iPad is at like 39%, so I'm hoping to get this done, and I also need to make dinner, so 0 crafting has been done again today, but oh well. So the very first one, and I'm going to be going across. So row 1, row 2, 3, 4, 5. The very first one is the Baltic Mandala. This is a gift for my husband, and my goal for this one is to finish part 1. So the center medallion. And I bead as I go, so I will also be including the beading in that. But I don't do the big beads like the bugles or whatever like that. I save those for the very end. But the smaller beads, I will have to do those to count that as complete. The second one is my green conversion of red from Mirabilia. I wasn't able to find that one. It has to be in storage. So if I don't find it, my goal will be, so if I don't find it, I'll work on Portrait of Veronica. I may or may not restart this. I am still debating that. I'm not so happy with the fabric. And I wrote here finish, and for this one I'm saying finish the cross stitch, not the beading. So here's where I'm at. There's so much to do, so this is a goal that's probably not gonna be met. When I was creating my boards, I wrote a list of all the WIPs I wanted to include, and then I randomized it to determine the order. So luckily for me, this one is not in one that is used in the diagonal bingos, but that was pure chance. I wanted to be as fair as possible while making my WIPGO board. The next one is Lantern Lane, and I want to completely finish this. Here is what it will look like when it is complete. And here is where I'm at. I actually didn't have this with me when I did my update just a few hours ago. But I did actually work on this quite a bit. So I am almost done with the house. I finished all the red. Unfortunately, you can see a bit of a dye lot situation, but it is what it is. So at least I got the different dye lots to go all the way across and not just be like a random blob. But I wish I could have finished the house before this situation happened. So I would like to completely finish this, and I do think that this one is doable if I just buckle down and focus. My plan is to, when they are drawn, make those my focus for the month and try to fit them in as many of the challenges I'm in as possible for that month. And then if there's a challenge I can't fit that particular one, try to work on the ones that were called but not complete yet. And in that way, try my best to meet as many of these goals as possible. The next one is the Welcome Sal from Tempting Tangles. I don't have a picture of what this will look like when complete, but my goal is to finish it. I don't have much done, but this one is seriously pretty small, and so it should be doable. This is one part, and so there's 16 parts, but if you take that and multiply it by 16, you'll see how much is left to do, and I think it's really actually quite doable to finish that. Here's just a picture of what one part is. So you can see theoretically, you should be able to do multiple parts in a day if you wanted. So I would really like to finish that. My next one, the last one on row 1, is the Dressmaker's Daughter from Mirabilia. I would like to finish the cross stitching on the spring dress. This one is for my sister Alex, so that's the spring dress. And here is where I am at. So quite a bit to do. This might be a bit ambitious. I'm hoping, I just don't think there's enough border room to really get it on the stand. I'm contemplating restarting this on different fabric. I don't know. Or gain like a bigger piece of this fabric so that I could put it on the stand. I don't know. This one used to have like a curry smell, but I don't really smell that anymore, so that's nice. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this color actually does show up on this fabric. And I'd really like to finish the cross stitch. Oh, sorry, I wrote spring. I'm gonna have to change that to winter. Winter is actually the first one, so my bad. And I will change that. My goal is winter, not spring. And just the cross stitch, not the beads. The beads if I can make it, but I doubt that. Okay, now on to row 2. The first whip is the one that was called for January. And I know I won't be able to finish this goal in January. So this is one of the examples of something that I will carry across. And that is the Epic Disney Princess by Clouds Factory. I said 3 princesses. So what I was really thinking was like the first row. So I am going to include the castle in that. But anyways, so it's unstarted. I have some 28 count blue navy. So I had hoped to start this tonight, but I don't know if I'll be able to. I would love to, though. The next one is my London Mandala chatelaine. And this is for my sister Jo. And I would like to finish part 1. Part 1 in this one is pretty big. Hang on and let me see if I have a visual. I thought I did, but it turns out I don't. And again, this will include the beading. I want to do the beading. So here is where I am at. Let me just scooch a lot of this up. Here is where I am at. And so I need to finish this last garden. And then there's this rose border, I believe. I haven't actually looked at the picture in a while. And then there's a ton of specialty stitches and beads. So this one, it's gonna take a miracle, but I would really love to be able to accomplish that for my sister Jo. Of all the chatelaines I have, this one is the one where there are the least amount of parts. So each part, if I'm remembering correctly, so each part is pretty demanding. So to finish one part of this is more demanding than to finish a part of like the Baltic Mandala. The Baltic Mandala part 1 is way smaller than the London Gardens part 1. Next over here is my giant Harry Potter. This is one that is in storage because I couldn't find it. However, my plan for it was already to restart it. I was doing it on 22 count hardanger fabric that was stiff, and there are some fractional stitches, and trying to pierce the fabric is really difficult, and then all white stitches are basically disappearing, and I just wasn't happy with it or happy stitching it, and I've contemplated restarting it for quite some time, and finally just decided I wasn't enjoying that, so therefore I wasn't stitching it. And what's the point of having a pattern if you're not gonna stitch it? So I got some 32 count vintage country mocha Lugana, and I will be restarting on this, and my goal is to finish the first row of pages. And I didn't say this, but I just said the first row, the top row, but also to the banners dip down a little bit into the next row of pages. So I'll just continue the banners, not do the second row of pages, just finish up the banners. So whatever motif I'm working on in that first page, I want to finish, even if it drifts down to the second. So that is my plan with giant Harry Potter. I'm hoping it's doable. It would be nice if it was drawn soon, so that I can get working on that. The next one is Once Upon a Fairy Tale Shelf. This one I made a goal of 20,000 stitches, including what I've already stitched. So I just want to make it to 20,000 stitches. I think I'm at 2,000. I am contemplating restarting this on like 32 count easy grid or 28 count, something that will fit on my stand. I did go max color super size, and this is the first super size pattern I've ever done or even ordered. It just would be nice to be able to have this on the frame and not like smooshed up in my lap because it's monster size fabric. Like, look at that. And I'm not even done twisting. So here's where we're at. So I am really loving the colors on this. That is a bit of the fabric, not the thread. Okay. And I've been watching other people's progress, and it's just so gorgeous. But, so I may or may not stick with this. This is 18 count right now, which means it's, you know, it's a mile long. So may or may not restart it. I'm still debating. Yeah. I mean, if I restart it, this fabric will definitely be able to be repurposed for other things. So that's not like really a big deal. It's not like I'm throwing out this huge chunk of fabric, just like a little bit at the top. Because there's no way I'm repicking all those stitches. But so 20,000 stitches, that's an ambitious goal. I probably won't make it. Unfortunately, this one's on a diagonal, so I may or may not push myself to try to make that. My next one is Celtic Summer from Lavender and Lace. And this is what she will look like at the end. And keep this in mind because my goal is to finish the borders. So here is where I am at. And I think that's pretty good to have a goal to finish the borders. I think that's doable. Not the beading, just the stitching. So like I've been working my way down here. So I have this border to go and that's it. Well, I guess this solid one. So I think the border is definitely a doable goal for once. But I really love these Celtic ladies and I need to make some progress on them. No, no, my pile is dropping. This is what happens when you create a mountain next to you. Hang on, let me pick it up. Stay balanced. Okay. So that completes row 2. Row 3, my first one is to stitch all the stars in One Nation by Bygone Stitches. And I've just needed to stitch the stars for a while, and then I get to the fun part, so I don't know why I haven't done it. Well, because it's boring and monotonous. But, so the same pattern over and over again. And if, when I get this drawn, I do 2 a day, I should have this done no problem. So, I mean, each star is about 100 stitches, I think. I think it might be just a couple over, like 104, something like that. But so, I mean, it's definitely doable to finish all those stars. And then that means next year I can start on the names of the states, which will be a lot more exciting. And I can't wait to actually have this done and framed and on our wall. So this is leftover fabric from that same London mandala, and I love this one. I should order this fabric again for my stash because it's so pretty. Next up is the second one that was drawn for this month. And again, it's one I'm not going to be able to reach this year. Not necessarily this year, but this month. And that is So Many Books, So Little Time by Randall Spangler, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And my goal for this is 25,000 stitches total. And the reason I made that goal is because Cheryl, my friend Cheryl and I are doing this. And oh, she sent me a needle minder that I need to put on here. But my friend Cheryl and I are doing this so that, loosely based off of the challenge in semi-sane stitches. I mean, the idea was basically formed off of that, but the idea, like how they're doing it, isn't what I wanted for myself. So what Cheryl and I are doing is we are, and anyone else who wants to join us, honestly. But what we are doing is for every stitch for every page we read, we do 1 stitch. So as opposed to 25 per page. And yeah, so basically you finish a book, you say it's like 190 pages, you do 190 stitches. And we want this to be kind of like a representation of how much we actually read over the year. And the reason I'm doing it this way as opposed to the way Semi-Sane is doing it is because I listen to a lot of books at work. Like, I mean, to be honest, I am in a book slump right now. So I haven't actually read a book this month. But normally I can read at least 5 books a week. I had made my goal for this year 150, but I had 2 or 3 major book slumps, and so I didn't. I'm at like 100. So what I did was I took the average book length of 250 and I multiplied that by 100 to get my goal for the year. So that 25,000 stitches is the goal for the entire year. Unfortunately, it was drawn first. So I just hope to stay caught up with my reading and stitching therefore. So, oh geez. So this month's goals are definitely not going to be reached for either project, but I hope to just make some progress on both of them. So yeah, there's that. I mean, I have days where I finish 2 books while at work. And so to do the 3,000 extra stitches because it's an audiobook for Semi-Sane just doesn't really work for me because there's no way I can stitch like 6,000 stitches in one day for one book. And they're like, well, you don't have to do all the books you read, just pick and choose. But my thing is I wanted to actually track what I read and see like a physical manifestation of what I accomplished, basically. So that's why I took it and adapted it for myself. And I won't be posting in their group because it's not their challenge, like how their challenge is. So I just took it and made it for myself. If anyone wants to do it too, you can. Cheryl and I have no problems with that at all. Okay, so the next one, and this should be an attainable goal as well. Not all of mine are, clearly, but this one should be. And that is Lady of the Flag from Mirabilia. My goal is to finish the flag, just the flag. Not do any of the lady, just finish the flag. And not beads, just the stitches. I have like 3 needle minders on here because they're all patriotic, So here's where I'm at. So I've got like all the red and white to do, but I do think that it's an attainable goal. And I love how that looks. It's so beautiful. I do have the fabric to do 2 of this. And this is actually just my own tea coffee dyed fabric. So it's nothing special. But because I wanted to do one in its original gold, and then I wanted to do like a green conversion like the Statue of Liberty. I haven't decided yet if right now I am stitching the Statue of Liberty version or the original gold version, which is why the goal is just to stitch the flag because I can decide later. Yeah. And this one is in my absolute favorite project bag I've ever made. And I wish I could find more of this fabric because I love it so much, but I've looked all over. I got it at Joann's and I just can't find it. And this is what it looks like. And inside I put this States Names fabric. I just love it so much. So, wish I knew where I could find that fabric again. Okay, the last one for row 3 is Visit Mordor by Country Magic Stitch. And this is what it will look like in the end, just black and white picture. And this is where I am at. My goal is to finish it. I am using this in Full Coverage Fanatics for 20 and 20. I have about 20,000 stitches left in this, so to finish it, we'll get that 20,000 for that challenge. So I really would actually like to finish this. The first one in row 4, I put Advent Animals from Brooks Books, complete 2 animals. However, that one must be in storage still. I am almost done with 1 animal. So it's just a very minimal amount of stitching left. And then so complete 1 more, which in a month should be doable. However, if it gets called before I find that, I will do Merry and Bright from Frosted Pumpkin. And here is where I am at. I figured these are both relatively smallish Christmas projects, so that's why I use this one as an alternative. Merry and Bright. I have not decided if I am going to do this small one down there. I think it's super cute, but I'm also thinking that I could use the bottom half of this fabric for like a Clouds Factory small one. Possibly like the Jetsons or maybe Scooby-Doo. But I thought that could be real pretty. So instead of just using like a tiny, tiny portion for that small one, I could instead use it for a Clouds Factory. And maybe there's room for both. I don't know. But so it would be nice to actually have this one done so I can use that fabric for something else. Plus I started that like a couple of years ago, so it'd be nice to have it done. Next up is the Serengeti Mandala from Chatelaine, and this one is for my parents. My goal for this one is to finish parts 1 and 2. Every other Chatelaine, my goal was just to finish part 1. However, I'm super close to finishing part 1 on this for my parents. So put a little T at the top. Yeah, I put a little X over here to mark the top. So here's where I'm at. I've already done the beads in this and the specialty stitches in this center mandala. I'm standing up to help show. So I've just got 4 of these small medallions. There's like a ton of fractional stitches and color changes, so that's why it's kind of a bummer to work on, but whatever. Just need to power through. And then part 2 is this design that's over top. It's like that. It's over top of each of these 4 sides, and there is no beading and no specialty stitches at all in that part. It's just strictly cross stitch. So that's why I made my goal to finish parts 1 and 2 for this. See, you can see here what I mean. There should be some big beads here and some bugle type beads there. I didn't do those. And I'll do those at the end. I just don't want them to like get broken in the scroll frame or misshaped or whatever, especially since that's the center medallion and this project's going to take a while to do. So I just instead decided to do those bigger beads at the end. And my parents have been harassing me for this, so I really need to get a move on. Hang on, let me see. Okay, I mean, this is small enough you can't make anything out. But see here, that's the first part. So I'm super close to being done with the first part. And then this second part is this. So that's the second part. So I mean, I think it's doable. Maybe not in 1 month, but I think it's doable. The next one is Halloween Rules by Lizzie Kate. And my goal for this one is to completely finish it. That is what it will look like finished. Each part is small and should be pretty quick to do. I am almost done with the third out of 12. Visit a haunted house. So, I mean, I think it's doable. This one's more of a stretch, but I really would love to have this done. If possible, I'd like to do one a month until it's called. And then just try to gangbuster it. I mean, I'd love to have it done by Halloween, so if it's not called by Halloween, I'd love to have finished it already. Next up is the first Santa of the 12 Days of Santa from Prairie Schooler. I'd also like to actually finish the second, but I didn't put that as my WIPGO goal because I'm giving these to my husband, but I didn't even finish the first one. But it would be like 1 year married, 2 years married, 3, and then until we get to 12, and then I'll just do other Santas. But I thought the numbers and the years married to Christmases is kind of cool. And these are small enough that shouldn't really be a big deal. It's like 50 by 70. So, I mean, and they're big blocks of color. So, hopefully that'll be easily done. The last one on row 4 is Letters to Hogwarts Sal. And my goal for this is to complete the border. This is the border. It is not started at all. So while I would love to stay caught up with the group, I mean, the first part is released tomorrow, and I don't think I'll finish all of one of them plus the border by the end of February. I mean, we'll see. I can try to get to where the letter is and work on that and fill in the border. But my main goal for this one to complete it on WIPGO is the border done. And then I will say I have accomplished that goal. Now we're on the 5th row, the final row. And my project for that first one is I would like to finish the class schedule Sal from Armada Designs. This is the one a lot of people got frustrated with. I actually like it. I know I'm an outlier in that, but I liked it. So here's where I'm at on it. So little bits in a lot of them. 2 of them completely finished. Some in the rest. Well, not even all the rest. But these ones, I mean, there's not a lot in each month, so I do think it is doable. I just need to, my one kind of gripe with this project is the fractional stitches. I just do not like fractional stitches. So that's probably the main thing slowing me down at this point, but I would really love to finish this. And maybe use the bottom little bit of this fabric over here for another Clouds Factory. I don't like to waste fabric, which is how I'm a little bit worried about things fitting on my almanac stand when it arrives, because I don't actually leave a lot of border room on the top of a lot of projects, but I'm hoping for the best. Okay. The next one is the final chatelaine. Right, yeah, the final chatelaine, and that is the Paris mandala for my sister Kirsten, who lives in Germany. And this is actually the first chatelaine I ever started. So here is where I am at. This one, for being the first one, there are some things about this one, like this 1/1 section in the middle, but mainly my issue with it is these stupid little birds that are now have to be done in all the places, and they are such a pain in the butt. But I would have really liked to finish part 1 of this for her, since it was the first one I ever started. And yeah. The next one is this. Okay, this one I really need to do. And that is the Labrador and German Shepherd for my aunt in South Africa. My husband and I are planning on going to South Africa as a delayed honeymoon this year, and I really need to finish this to give to her. Here is where I'm at. Finishing it should be a doable goal. I mean, this is all I have left. It's not that much. It's just my issue, as always, with the lack of colors, like pretty colors. But, I mean, it does look really good, and I know she really wants it, so, and I was supposed to have given it to her already years ago, so, not a great niece, but it will get done and given to her, and, yeah. So I think this one is doable. This one is a priority WIPGO finish goal. Okay. Next up is the Map Sal from Ink Circles. My goal for this one is just the border. Oops. This is a piece of fabric I dyed myself. I didn't like the splotches, but when this Sal came out, I was like, well, maps have splotches, so this could work. Here's where I am at. And so my goal is just to finish this border. So we will see. In my own group, we are doing a new start style right now where you have to put 500 stitches on each new start that you're doing. And so I have about 100 stitches left to do to count this one complete for that. And then I can start the princesses. So hope to do that tonight. The final one is the one I spent an hour and a half looking for, and that is my U.S. Presidents from Clouds Factory. I could have sworn it was here. I remember stealing that project bag for something else, but alas, I could not find it, so it has to be in storage. So if it gets drawn before I find it, I will be working instead on Frosted Pumpkins Trick or Treat. And here is where I am at. And part of the reason I picked this as the alternative is because I think the bottom half of this would look good for either Scooby-Doo or the Jetsons. So here's where I am at. Still much to do, but definitely definitely doable. And if you're wondering, this is Crystal Da Vinci from Picture This Plus. I think it's a really pretty fabric. But, so that is my final WIPGO WIP for cross stitching. If you are interested in the non-cross stitching WIPGO board, stick around because I will show that now, and hopefully my iPad doesn't die first. Okay. So, the first one, again, I will be working across the rows like this. The first one is my Slytherin Stripey socks. This is self-striping yarn, and it's unstarted, so when it's called, I would like to start and finish these in that month. And I don't know what pattern I'm going to use, or if I'm just going to use a plain vanilla pattern. So that is still to be determined. Next up is the Afghan for my husband's grandson. And this is unstarted, but I'll just do a simple quick pattern. I'm not sure what yet, something in the round, but these are the two yarns that I will be using for that. And I would like these for Christmas presents for next year, so I'm really hoping I can make some good progress on that. Next is my Stripey Christmas socks. I had wanted to do these this year, but I just didn't get around to it. I have already divided this into 2 balls because I would like to, for this one, my challenge for this one will be to try to do 2 at a time socks. And I tried it for the magic loop, just like casting on one of them. The magic loop was so hard for me, so we will see. We will see. I might need to try magic loop on a different pair of socks, not 2 at a time, before this gets called. So that is that, my Christmas stripey socks. Next up is project bags. Oh, and for the socks, it is my goals so far have been to finish them. Next up is project bags. So when this is drawn, I would like to make 10 project bags, or have completed 10 this year anyways. And here are some examples of some of my project bags. So it's not too hard. It's definitely doable to do 10, especially since I already have more than 10's worth of fabric cut out and put together. I just haven't sewn them. So 10 is definitely a doable goal for making project bags. Next up is my Christmas Eve socks. I cast these on Christmas Eve as part of like a Christmas Eve cast on, and I got all of this much done. So I cast on and did not even 1 round of knitting. But that's all right. That's all right. So here is the contrast yarn for heels and toes. And here's my yarn. This is called Vintage Fairy Lights by Bluebird Yarn. They are out of Canada. Their prices, even including shipping to the US, is really reasonable. And their yarns are fantastic. So for this, I am doing a pattern called Red Robin socks. It is in season 1 of the yearly handmade sock collection from Curious Handmade. And my goal is to finish both socks for that one. So that's the first row. The second row, and this first one is the one that was called for this month. I'm not going to be able to finish this one in this month either. This is none of the ones that were called this month I'll be able to finish this month. But It is the youngest Granddaughters Afghan. And this is my start on it. And I have 2 of these. So the second one is purple with pink in the middle. So I have 2 of these. This is called a virus blanket or Afghan. And so the pattern just grows on itself. It's super simple to memorize and really quick to do. So I think this is one night's work. So not doable this month, but hopefully by the end of the year, because I want it as a Christmas present. Next up is my Lala Simple Shawl. And I have not worked on this in months. So this is what it looks like. It's a really simple shawl pattern. And this is the yarn I am using. This is actually the first hand-dyed yarn I ever bought. And I loved how it looked so much. I'm not sure I love it as much knitted, but that is all right. Which is probably why it hasn't been worked on in a while. But here is where we are at right now. Come on. So, actually this way, that was the back. I think I might have some mistakes in here, but considering I was a new stitcher when I started this, you know, it's all right. It's all right. So I would like to finish this. And yeah, I was so new. I did not have a Swift or anything. So I developed some knots when I was trying to wind it. And so I have multiple little ones because I got so frustrated at the knot. I just cut it. I know better now, but I did not then. Oh. Better put the pattern in there. The next one is Goldberry Shawl, and this entire pattern is written based on Lord of the Rings. So, so the various sections, like this one's called Mary. So when they want you to do this row again, it'll just say Mary, Samwise, Pippin, like that. And each section is called things like Closed Trees, Guard, Old Forest, Shade, and like on and on in a poem. So, I mean, there's 13 pages here. So that's not really going to tell you anything too revealing. But I would like to finish this. And I am stitching this in this lovely yarn called Shadow. I thought it was pretty fitting. So here is where I am at right now. This is crochet, not knit. And here is the yarn. So I'm really excited to be able to get back to this one. Put this back in there. That's the Goldberry Shawl. Next up, I have my Aunt Shawl, but that one must be in storage because I could not find it. So, if it's called before then, I'm going to do Mow of Change. This is a freebie pattern that is part of a larger pattern, so I may need to buy the larger pattern. But it's by Franco Randall. And like each round is a different kind of stitch. He does, a ton of these kind of patterns. So that's what that one looks like. I might need to buy the full size one. And I am doing this in a cake called Mistletoe. And so it's gonna be like, I want it to be like a tablecloth. So this is what I have started, and I would like to finish it as my goal. If I don't find my aunt's shawl, which I would like to finish as well, because that was meant to be a Christmas present a little while ago. The last one for this row I don't have to show because it's in storage, but I need to do my sister Alex's quilt. It's a graduation present. She's graduating from high school, so I need to do that. The first one on the third row is Delft Sophie. So this is Sophie's Universe, and it's in a 4 colorway that reminds me of Delft from Holland, the Netherlands. My mom collects that, and so I am doing this for her, and I would really love to finish it this year. At this point, each round is taking me about 2 hours. No, sorry, each row is taking about 2 hours, not each round. That would be nice if it was only each round, but so it is taking forever. I really would like to finish it, but that might be a stretch, but it's my hope to finish this for her so she can stop asking me for it. I really don't want to give this up to her either. It's just so pretty. And especially now in winter, I can have this on my lap while crocheting on it and stay nice and snug. So that is Sophie's Universe Delft. The next one, which is the one that was called for this this month, is Halloween stripey socks. So it feels a little early for Halloween, but it was called. So I will be doing the Heel Toe Do-Si-Do by Kay Litton. She's the Crazy Sock Lady on YouTube. Her vlogs are amazing. I love them. They're instant watches for me. Like, it comes up and I watch it. But this was designed for self-striping yarn, which is what this is, this pattern. And so I'm really looking forward to knitting this, and I hope to be able to finish it this month, but that's probably a stretch. So of all of the goals for this month, all 4 of them, that's probably the most realistic, but it's not that realistic. Okay, next is I want to make 10 purple baby hats for the purple hat charity. They collect theirs in September, and each of these takes like an hour to make, if even that. I don't know, maybe it takes an hour. So so it's doable. It's definitely doable. If I make more than 10, that would be fantastic, but it's 10 to complete the WIPGO board. The last one for row 3 is my Reina Shawl. This is one I've thought about restarting with a nicer yarn from my stash. I am just using this patent sock yarn that was like super cheap at Hobby Lobby, because I was just learning how to knit at the time, but now I would love to do it in an actually nice yarn. But here is what it looks like right now. So I think it looks pretty nice, and the pattern is definitely easy and new knitter friendly. So oh, excuse me. The 4th one, I wasn't able to find this first pattern, so this first project, so it must still be in storage. I am so close to this project being done. It's called the Beautiful Shells Afghan. I'm just making it. It's just like a tiny little thing. But I'm so close to being done with it, which is why I put it on WIPGO. So I'm sad that I can't find it. But if I don't find it by the time it's called, I would like to work on my Bella Vita shawl. This is what this cake looks like, and it is a hot mess right now with that sparkly thread. But this blue sparkle adds quite a nice feature into this yarn. So if I don't find that beautiful shells, I would love to finish this. Next up is I would like to make 10 Christmas balls from this book, Christmas Balls to Knit. The pattern does call for using double pointed needles, and I am not doing great at my attempts with double pointed needles. I have tried to make one of these so far, this one. And I'm just laddering up the sides and struggling a lot. So if anyone has any tips for double pointed needles, I would love them. But yeah, so my goal is to make 10. Next is another one I couldn't find, which was my Grenda Shawl. So if I can't find that, I would like to finish this 4 Seasons shawl. Here's what the cake looks like. And this is my Harry Potter wand crochet hook. It does not smell nice at all. And it feels a little sticky, although since it's aged a little bit since I first started this, it's less sticky, so that's nice. But here is what it looks like right now. So it's really nice, it's really pretty, but I've made very little progress. Next up is the Candle Flame Scarf, which I have attempted to make numerous times for my husband, but I always make a mistake and then have to pull it back out. It's been a few months since I've tried that, and I've now learned better how to take stitches back and how to knit, basically. So this year I would like to attempt it again as my Christmas present again for next year. So I'm really hoping to be successful with this one. The last one for row 4 is the Phoenix Afghan. And I put to finish this, but I don't actually think that that's a realistic goal. But nevertheless, that is what I put. Here is where I am at on this one. And I think it's really pretty. Here's what the rest of that cake looks like. So like this. And then I've got another one to attach so it works back out. And then I've got another with the purple center and another like this one. So I've got 4 of these. And so that should be enough yarn to do this. And if possible, I'd like to finish it. I don't know that that is possible, but I'd at least like to concentrate on it that month. Okay, so that completes row 4. The final row to get through real quick is I would like to finish my Cornish tea socks. I have 1 sock started. And this is what this looks like. So I need to finish this sock and do 1 more. This is my yarn. This is actually my first sock ever. So it was an ambitious first one, but it's so pretty and I'm so happy, and now I want it done. So my goal is to finish both socks. And the next one is the Liliana Afghan, which again is not a realistic goal to finish it, but that is what I put anyway. Here is where I am at on this, and this is what this cake looks like. And I've seen this worked, like this cake worked up, and it is gorgeous. So I actually have 6 of these, 3 in each way. I'm hoping it doesn't actually take 6, but if it does, then I've got the yarn for it. And yeah, I'd love to have that completed. The next one is the oldest Granddaughters Afghan, and this is the one I am the least decided on because I don't know for sure about the yarn. She's 12, so it's a bit harder to pick things for her. She told me she likes teal and rainbows and stuff like that. So if I have leftovers, I thought maybe this cake worked up as something. I also have this one, but I need to get more of these. But I thought this could be fun for she'll be 13 at Christmas. So for a like new teenager, this could be fun. Or I have this one, but I think I'm selfishly going to keep it for myself because it's my absolute favorite monthly cake ever. And I won this on an auction. And this is 3,000 meters, so I can make a blanket out of this. So I'm probably going to keep this for myself, but possibly use it for her. We shall see. So I'm hoping hers doesn't get cold soon because I need to find the perfect yarn. So the next one is a completely doable goal, and that is to make 10 dishcloths. So not necessarily of this yarn, but just make 10. And not even necessarily all knit. Some might be crocheted. I like to Tunisian crochet dishcloths as well. It comes out as a very nice texture. So I would like to make 10, at least 10, which should be pretty achievable. My final one for the non-cross-stitch WIPGO board is to finish my Emiliana Shawl. Here is where I am at on this. So I have to work this pattern. It's a 6-row repeat pattern until I have, and like these little things over here, completely intentional. They are not mistakes. But I have to work this until I have 150 stitches on here. And then there's a mosaic section, and I've never done mosaic stitching before. So I'm so excited to learn how to do that. But so yeah, so then I have to do the mosaic. And this is the contrast yarn to go with it. And I think that's going to be really, really pretty. So my goal is to finish this. I think it should be doable if I just focus on it, but we will see. So those are all of my WIPGO goals, both the cross-stitching and the non-cross-stitching. They're ambitious. Most of them won't be achieved, but most of the fun is in trying. So I will try to remember to link the group down below. I don't know if you can still join because the first 2 numbers have been called, but how this works is every month Jessie Marie is going to draw 2 numbers, and those will be the WIPs that you are trying to achieve that month, and it's very loose on the rules. So that is my WIPGO preview, and I'm going to say goodbye for now because I need to go make dinner. And clean up this mess. It is a mess. If you guys could see around me right now. I mean, you could if I put it down, but that would be embarrassing. But it is a mess. So anyways, I need to clean it up, make dinner, and then probably go to bed. So have an awesome day, And if you've made a WIPGO video, please link it down below so I can watch your plans. So bye, and have a great day and a happy new year. Bye.